Alright, so welcome back to round 3 of the Golden League 2. And today we've got our second game here between ZertoN in the light blue trunks on Abbasid up against Anotand in the dark blue trunks on the Mongols. So we've actually got Baltic as our map, which looks a lot like Mediterranean to me. Although it might actually just always be called Baltic in this one. Yeah, it looks like Mediterranean from Age of Mythology and AoE 2, where you've just got this big lake in the center, and you're pretty much always best off going for like dock first. Funnily enough, man, I really wish map names in the series would be standardized, right? Because this is Baltic in AoE 4. This is Mediterranean in AoE 2 and Age of Mythology, and this is Coastal in Age of Empires Online. So, just to make things a bit confusing, there's not really any standardization with map names across the series. Arabia in this, while it is like AoE 2's Arabia, is quite different to AoE 0's Arabia. And then, I mean, the black sheep of the family, AoE 3, well, let's not even get started on the map names there and what the maps are actually like and how they relate to the rest of the series. So players be pumping out these fishing boats. And the beauty is the Khan can at least harass these villages nice and safely with the range. Right. Do they have a slightly faster attack speed than a regular scout as well? Ah, no, it's the same speed. But even still, the annoyance of ranged Khan. Unlike the scout where you've got to stand right next to 3 or 4 villages and then take a beating from them, you know, the Khan can just sit back and chip away. And really only it's once Anotand actually, you know, needs to get some more sheep or wants to actually get a bit more vision a little bit later on over ZertoN that he actually has to worry about moving away. So ZertoN meanwhile with the regular scout just managed to grab just about every sheep he can heading around the map. So all the more power to him. There's another one over here. He will have missed, but I think he should be right in getting most of them, because it looks like Anotand's just eager to try and whittle away at as many villages as possible here, because, you know, he comes through with horsemen later on. Obviously it's a lot easier to try and pick off that those low villages. So ZertoN's sort of forced to use the ones that get low from the Khan right under the town centre there, sort of nowhere else. Once our players are starting to be a bit more active on the map and raiding. But in the meanwhile, they'll actually really look at booming up their fishing economy. So Anotand already going to the second dock. ZertoN's just on the one, but he's been constantly making fishing ships just like his opponent out of that single dock. And the Khan being here means Anotand's also going to know if ZertoN's going to go for a second dock, just like him, and if he does, when and where. But ZertoN for the time being, just going to age up for now it seems. Our Mongol, Anotand, if he wanted to age up too, he's getting the resources for that. So the expense of the second dock. ZertoN's going to go for a second dock anyway. And that low village is going to be a little bit careful. She can't really stick around and build the dock by herself unless the scout's chipping away at the Khan. And ZertoN's probably going to have to actually pull this back, because realistically it's only 7 more hits and that village is dead. So Anotand might even go for it here. Try and pick off that villager, and at least force ZertoN to have to pull her all the way back. Try and send another villager to repair. To build. Oh, it's going to be close. Anotand's going to get this. Yeah, nice. The eco pops are dead even at the moment, so ZertoN might actually be slightly up on that 8th fishing ship. I don't know. There we go. So Anotand's starting to slightly creep ahead on the Vil count now, having sniped that villager with the Khan. So, you know, hitting the Khan on its own can deal quite a lot of damage. Because realistically, taking out a villager, taking off another 30 health off another 3. So that's, you know, that's 140 health. Basically, you could get just under 3 villagers in that time while you're taking feudal. If you can sit there and harass. Obviously, players at this level are a bit smarter than that, and they're going to try and pull back the low villager. ZertoN was slightly late on that one because she got to about there. Man, the Khan is such a pest. Unreal. Anotand, H2 already. He's gone deer stones. No towers yet, but that could be more. They could be useful for him later on. He's going to have the initial war junk production over ZertoN. So ZertoN's got 2 fishing boats. I mean 2 docks now, but his age up. Still a little while away, another 5 seconds or so. So trying to get out his Bangla and his Dao. I think they might actually be stronger than the standard warships, but in saying that, he's going to be at a bit of a delay with getting those out compared to Anotand. And he might want to try and garrison them, or at least, yeah, pull them as far back to the dock and to the coast there as possible. Because now it's going to be a light junk and another war junk heading in. The Bagler, the Dao, held up briefly while ZertoN finishes off this house. So, well, this isn't quite going the way he'd hoped, I don't think. Now, here we go, the Bagler out. So, 1-to-1, I think this is a slightly stronger warship, is it? No, it's pretty much the same. Down. Just trying to pull the light junk over. Oh, it turns out they've all got the same stats, it's just different naming. I thought Abbasid did have a boost to their water. Right now, Anotand putting a lot of pressure on ZertoN here. Able to pick off one of the explosive Dao. So ZertoN already going for trading. Bagler's being worn down, so Anotand seems to be ahead on the water here, but ZertoN's gone for the trade wing first to be able to get those caravans. Now he's going to have to try and protect them. He's getting some horsemen back at home for Anotand. He's not able to commit to anything on the land just yet because he's gone for such a big warship opening here, but at the same time it's giving him a bit of an advantage on the water here. ZertoN's finding it very hard to keep fishing, but these caravans seem to be offsetting things. I don't think ZertoN can actually train any more of them, but the fact that taking the age up and getting them with it, I think it's definitely been worth it for him. Because I believe that's how he's got them. He hasn't got a market yet, so probably how he's done it. I don't think I've ever actually gone trade wing first on Abbasid. But by the looks of it, ZertoN is going to put another market all the way at the back there and just keep pumping that trader eco. And I mean, I know Malians has also really sort of paved the way for people playing a lot more around early trader builds. And Mongols, you know, are the OG trader civ in AoE 4 as such, but it's always cool seeing, particularly guys with an Age of Empires Online background like ZertoN or like Recon, playing heavily around caravans. Considering it's so strong in Age of Empires Online and Age of Mythology, it's interesting to see them either sort of being ahead of the meta or even being a bit unorthodox a lot of the time with it. So that trade for ZertoN, even though he's only very marginally up on land economy, and his water eco has actually been a little bit slowed down relative to Anotand's, because Anotand's been pushing on the water pretty much the whole time, hasn't really had to worry about any harass of his fishing ships. I think it's really the market is what's going to pull ZertoN's eco ahead here as such, unless Anotand can look at getting one of his own. So maybe the deer stones come back to bite him, because realistically he could have gone for a similar sort of H2 style to ZertoN here, just behind, you know, a greater warship count. Not quite sure why the fog of war sort of half disengaging and half re-engaging there. Anyway, got a bit of a fight here, and ZertoN's Bagler's getting really low. The war junks for Anotand, a little bit more even health on them. He's not really committing here. While on the land, there's now horsemen here for Anotand, so he's going to be able to kill some of these traders for ZertoN. Bearing in mind, these are the ones he got for free with the age up, so he hasn't really had to spend anything on them. So them dying, they've sort of already paid for themselves. On top of that, ZertoN will be able to clean that up with his own horsemen, but Anotand at least slowing down that caravan eco. ZertoN running a bit low on wood there, trying to repair his warships with his fishing boats, and while he's repairing, obviously he's not fishing. So Anotand pulling ahead on work account at the moment, but he's not quite able to deny ZertoN's caravan eco here by the look of it. I mean, not quite able to continue denying it. He's killed the caravans, but ZertoN hasn't started producing any more just yet. Anotand now having to back up and rely on his own fishing ship repair and his own dock repair. Explosive Dow actually hitting ZertoN's there, so I don't know if that was not great for him. Pretty good for Anotand, but now he's going to hunker down in his own water, so his own fishing will start to take a bit of an impact soon, especially if some of these explosive Dows can land a good connection in amongst that big pack of warships, so a couple of them going down there. And ZertoN having to back off once again, and Anotand still has horsemen keeping an eye on that market spot, and ZertoN's actually now going to start adding some traders, which are going to run straight past the pair of those, so that's not going to be good for him. It'd be great for Anotand, especially if he manages to kill one or two of them before he's got to actually pull the horsemen back. Anotand continuing to take up as much space on the outskirts of the water as possible, give him a bit of vision and deny ZertoN the chance from really stacking too many docks up, because bearing in mind he's only got 3 at the moment, Anotand's up to 5. On top of that, it also makes your fishing a bit more efficient because you're not necessarily having to go travel as far out. That wheelbarrow is going to end up being cancelled, I think. Well, the horsemen have actually, looks like they've been moved just as that caravan's trained up, so Anotand actually possibly missing his opportunity to pick off the traders now. Oh no, I think he might have realised. ZertoN's probably going to go on that now. ZertoN trying to take out some structures here. Going to get the Gur, going to deny wheelbarrow. And probably going to be able to finish off this Ovu, because he'll be able to bring these horsemen back over here. Anotand looking really healthy at the moment. Up on Bill Pop and Army Pop on ZertoN at the moment. Is he gonna see the trader? I don't think he will. So Anotand really demolishing ZertoN's navy for the moment. But in saying that, ZertoN did some good damage to the Ovu there, which is now burning down. ZertoN's got a bigger count of horsemen too, so realistically he can actually turn on that fight, I think. Also adding some spears. Or Anotand adding barracks of his own, so he'll be able to start spearman production. ZertoN walling off that lower side of the map. Anotand definitely making an impact here on the water. So I'm trying to put some forward walls up here and just rely on a really healthy trader eco now that he's seemingly settled things down along his market line there. So even though he's down on villager pop, traders are actually really resource efficient and time efficient. Well, I mean, sorry, really pop efficient, I should say, for the resources that they gather. I think it's definitely worth having them. So Anotand, pretty impressive fishing eco, but he's rallied all the way out to this deep water fish. He could probably go just to this one here and this one here. Like, they're a lot closer to the dock. It's going to minimize the amount of travel time, and you know, right now it's big engagement just on the outskirts of Anotand's TC. ZertoN going to have to back off here. He's actually sort of thrown away that bit of a land military advantage he had there, but at the same time he's already starting to wall himself in, get nice and safe. The wolf might actually pick off one of these traders eventually, but it looks like Anotand definitely got control of the water for the moment. In fact, ZertoN struggling to try and repair these docks without losing a great deal of villagers. Anotand making it behind the walls. As ZertoN might be able to sneak in the villagers and get that built. The one spearman there falling, and now the Khan's going to get picked off. So even though the spear's the counter unit, sort of hasn't got enough backup there to really finish the job. So I'm going to be able to repair all of his docks. So Anotand held on the water briefly. There's a lot of junks there, and now another war junk. And that Bagler going to fall pretty quickly, which is quite a cost. So Anotand's actually up on ZertoN in terms of the kill value by about 1,000 resources at the moment. I think, even though Anotand's up on the overall villager pop, I think with a mix of the fishing boats not necessarily going to the closest deep water fish that they can. Like here, for instance, he could be on this one. Over here, he really should be on this one, and maybe this one. So some inefficiencies in Anotand's fishing are really starting to creep in. On top of that, I do think the trader eco ends up just being more resource and pop efficient. So I think even with Anotand's big pop lead, I don't think ZertoN's necessarily really behind in anything other than the military pop at the moment. I think Anotand, he's wanting to go to castle, which is definitely a good idea. You know, he can get that step redoubt, take advantage of that, get some shaman out, try and capture all the relics and all the sacred sites, but I do wonder if he's best off maybe going for the market in the corner as well, or, you know, having possibly gone for the other age 2 landmark there for the Mongols, just because, you know, you can do something similar to going for the trading wing with Abbasid. And does it make the caravans cheaper going trade wing? Apologies guys, I haven't actually played a great deal for a couple of patches, so there are some small changes now that I'm unaware of. And on top of that, Abbasid trade wing style is not really something I've really played a lot of, or cast a lot of before. So it looks like Anotand really doing what he can to just deny any great fishing eco here for ZertoN, or any great number of warships at all. Able to get to castle age slightly faster than ZertoN too. Oh no, quite a bit faster, because ZertoN still going to need a lot of food to get there. Saying that's a great number of traders now. Even dropping off a secondary resource in food, which ZertoN will be able to use to put towards age 3, and he can also just buy some food with the excess gold that he's getting from this. In fact, he's going for a multi-market style. So Anotand actually got, what's that, 1 siege pop? What's that from? Going to be getting lances out though. So, I mean, if ZertoN has anything other than spears, while Anotand's got lances out, it starts to get really ugly trying to fight those age 3 heavy armor units with age 2 heavy armor units. But bearing in mind, Anotand's going to start adding in man-at-arms, so those guys are great against the spears. I'm not sure if Anotand should have led with the lances then, because he's going to lose a couple of them. Or at least one or two of the horsemen as well. I mean, charging in with your knights to hit the spears just because that great damage with them is, you know, can be worth it, but realistically he probably wants to lead with his own infantry first, because I mean, the man-at-arms are going to take basically fucking no damage to the spears. Horsemen finding some gatherers here of Anotand's, who's obviously setting up to get his own market eco going in the long run. So, I mean, he's brought everything down here for his wood gathering, but the beauty is he can, you know, tower this up, put down a market here, put down a market up the other end, and really catch up to ZertoN in terms of the caravan count. Because even with Anotand having majority control of the water, he's actually starting to slip behind on eco population. But ZertoN's army of spears doesn't seem to have pulled off too much other than really just slowing down Anotand from making use of that little heavy army unit ball. I mean, he did thin out some of the horsemen. So I'm going to go for a second layer of walls on that top side. Just as Anotand's bringing everything back home, he might be looking to push that side. I mean, I think by now he knows both sides are walled. So he's probably best off just even beelining this side. There's nearly 30 traders now, and they're pulling in 180 resources a trip, which is pretty significant. He should be getting castle. Yeah, he's halfway to castle now. Neither player having gone for any armory upgrades as of yet, nor really much in the way of eco technologies. Is that bug there? It's not really. Oh yeah, ZertoN's got tier 1 food and wood gathering. Anotand's got tier 1 wood gathering and wheelbarrow. No real armory techs yet. And okay, so Anotand's actually put his prayer tent down here. It's a bit of an interesting choice, because realistically you could just get it at home and have the shaman just grab the relics and then store them, you know, nice and safely back at home. I mean, he is Mongol. I mean, you can always pack it up and move it. Really not such a big deal. So Anotand busting through a couple of layers of walls now. ZertoN hitting age 3, so he's starting to hit his strides with Abbasid and with this fairly boom eco here. In fact, he's... how many traders is he up to now? 36, so that's pretty significant. He's really pulling ahead of Anotand on the eco pop, but Anotand will be able to pressure well because he's got that military advantage. I don't think it's really locked up in warship population either. He's got a good number of heavy armor units here, man-at-arms and lancers. ZertoN, how many get? Yeah, crossbows, spears, and some camels. Maybe even some of his own man-at-arms. Anotand gonna bring the Kurultai over here because it's gonna give a nice damage steroid and a nice health regen bonus for our Mongols player. And this is gonna be painful for ZertoN to defend because Anotand is basically forcing him to fight right on top of the caravan line here. Quite started on his own caravan line or his own relic. Oh no, he has started relic and sacred site acquisition. It looks like ZertoN is holding onto this caravan line by the skin of his teeth at the moment. Anotand gonna move forward with a lot more production. So having to get fortifications to his outposts. There's still about 30 traders left, so there's been a small hiccup to their pop count, but the Kurultai is having to get the hell out of there. Anotand's still in the lead with that military population, and he's actually in the lead with the eco pop now too. ZertoN going to go for a keep here. Oh no, the villagers aren't doing anything. ZertoN getting started on that keep probably a bit later than he'd have liked there. And all those villagers are all really low. Anotand putting together a trebuchet. He's got a few more production buildings up the front here too. He's still denying ZertoN any opportunity to go fishing. Continuing to grab more relics. So the relic and sacred gold gonna help really pull ahead economically because he's got water over his opponent. He's got the sacred site, got the relic over his opponent. Right now ZertoN's creeping ahead in the army count. Slowing down production, these production buildings too. But Anotand able to fight under Kurultai here, even though he's fighting at a bit of a, well, not anymore, but he was fighting at a military pop disadvantage. At least he's fighting under Kurultai, which is really going to help offset that. I mean, it's now he's got pretty good defender's advantage, but not quite now that ZertoN's actually added a little bit more to that unit ball. ZertoN's trading Ecoby. Moving back up once again. One of them idling. Just having a smoke break, bro. Anotand doubling down. He really wants this dock, but ZertoN's repairing through it. He will lose a few villages. He's gone up to 2 TCs, whereas Anotand's on 124 eco pop. So is he on second town center yet? I don't think so. No. Both our players quite a solid gather rate now that they're both well past that 100 villager, 100 eco pop mark. So even with ZertoN fighting on top of all this production of Anotand's, both of them walking away, able to really continue just streaming out the units. ZertoN's Bagler put himself a bit of space here on the water, but at the same time he's still only got 2 docks to his opponent's 5. Anotand, you're going to have enough gold to get through this, because realistically ZertoN hasn't got any pressure on him to gather gold out of gold veins. It's all running out of his caravan eco already, so he doesn't have to really worry about losing control of gold veins or trying to pinch one off his opponent unless this marker line falls over. Whereas Anotand, right now, one of these prayer tents is under a bit of attack here too. And there's no caravan trading going on yet, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a start to it at all. Anotand could be in a lot more trouble than he is, because I mean, ZertoN's got these guys over here, but they're not actually hitting that gold mine just yet. Things have settled down over here on the top side. That traction treb, I think that's been finished. I don't think that's still building, is it? Or was that sending some more man-at-arms in? Again, there's all these villagers to kill, and they haven't jumped on those just yet. Anotand now a little behind in the military population at the moment. Fighting under the Kurultai is really going to be a big boon. Putting a keep down in what's probably the highest density of gold on the map here. But Anotand's managed to slow things down here. There's one villager of ZertoN's left on the run there. So that keep not quite finished. Oh, Anotand's got some of his own villagers here that were chasing, fighting her off, but looks like ZertoN going to get that keep finished. Neutralizing the sacred. It's forcing these villagers for a retreat. And now Anotand, it's starting to get tough for him for gold, because he's got to get up here, mine out this, try and get back on his trading eco here. I mean, realistically, you could trade to the coastal post as well. ZertoN putting up some stone walls here. A bit more difficult for Anotand to attack into. Well, control of this lower side gold might really come back to haunt Anotand, considering, like I said, he hasn't gone for a caravan eco while ZertoN now up to 50 traders. So there is very little stress on ZertoN to actually mine gold. Mining gold over here is probably more something that will fuck over his opponent rather than actually being something he needs to do as such. Because Anotand, once this gold runs out, he's relying on relic gold and trying to start a caravan eco up. Or trying to start a trade ship eco up. Looks like we've got a bit of a transport drop here by Anotand. So ZertoN, where's his army? He's going to have to try and deal with this. Anotand's probably going to want to either get these guys back out here or try and fight as close to the coast as possible, because if he can bait ZertoN into these explosive ships or into the support of the warships. In fact, Anotand trying to pinch the sacred site just to slow his opponent down, give him one more sort of thing to have to snatch back off him. And the shaman's actually not standing with the armies. I mean, standing with the armies, not standing on the sacred. ZertoN's actually walling in the other sacred site, so there is a possibility for ZertoN to try and force a sacred site win condition here. And just trying to get a hold of some gold here. And this means he works his way around the stone walls without having to use the trebs to actually break his way through for now. He can just keep transporting more units across, forcing ZertoN to have to defend here at home. And sort of undo the fact that ZertoN's stolen, 20,000 gold off him at that lower side of the map. And access to the trading post. There is this prayer tent that ZertoN should want to clean up eventually. This Anotand's got a sneaky relic stuck away in it. And another prayer tent over here. So a big engagement going down. ZertoN fighting a little uphill battle in terms of the military pop, but he is also fighting at home. Anotand's having to ship everything across. The towers aren't finished up yet as well. And the Mangonel not really having to worry about all these infantry splitting up or anything, getting some nice shots off for ZertoN there. It's going to take forever and a day for that tower to take down the wall on its own. So this is an annoying game for both players to be stuck in at the moment. Like ZertoN having to defend inside his own half of the map, but Anotand has basically lost out 2/3 of the map to his opponent and has to try and find a way through stone walls, trying to, you know, get the best D-Day scenario that he can here to actually gain back some ground without trying to cut through walls while trying to fight at a bit of a military disadvantage. Looks like ZertoN now has control of all this side of the map once again. It's going to be difficult for Anotand to find a way into his opponent's base here. Now he's probably best off trying to take the more, I guess, direct approach and just hit one side of these stone walls and just not look back. Is he even trying to just cut his way through here, or is that just because he's got so little wood? Might actually just be the lack of wood here, really, because there's not a lot of clumps of trees left around there. There's still some wood up here for Anotand, but ZertoN's just slowly bleeding him out of space and out of map resources. On top of that, it's ZertoN who's got less pressure to actually take resources off the map, because he's already got 50 traders. He's got a lot more space to get all the farms he needs, and he's got plenty of wood to get all the farms he needs. So the clock is sort of ticking for Anotand at the moment. He's going to have to try and take a fight here that works out for him. Both our players have gone to age 4. This is going to be tough for Anotand. It's not going to be able to get onto this other gold mine, and in fact, all these villagers running this way is not great for him. That he had a small eco-pop lead that's now being dismantled. He's losing like 40 villagers out of this. Maybe not quite that many, about 30 villagers out of this. He's trying to push over at this top side at the same time, but it's sort of going to work out a bit of a throw, really, because I don't think he's realised he's lost all these gold gatherers down here. I mean, ZertoN was already sort of ahead, but just losing all those workers. And he could have possibly even, or couldn't quite sneak them up there. That's just too close to that other keep. I wonder if Anotand was best off trying to transition to a market if he could a little bit earlier than this. And in fact, he's even climbed up on ZertoN's walls here, which is actually working in ZertoN's favour, because the Mangonels are getting nice connects on all these stacked up crossbows. And GG, ZertoN takes the series 2-0.